Motivated sellers are very easy to find, and with the right tools and strategies in place, guess what? You can find them daily. And what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna show you how you can actually get that done today. Let's get into it. So in order to actually get in front of sellers daily, this is what I use. If I wanna be in a market in less than 5 to 10 minutes, I'm gonna use PropStream to get me an instant list. So what I'm gonna do to show you the interface, this is pretty much how PropStream look. You can see up here, this is where you type in the city, and let's just pick a random city that we're gonna pull a list in. So the random city that we're gonna pull a list in is Dallas, Texas. So in order to pull a vacant list, the very first thing that I'm gonna do, I'm gonna come up to the filters. You got a quick list choice that you can go and choose. I'm gonna choose vacant. And as you can see, it's a lot of different other list choices that you have as well. But I chose the vacant quick list choice. So now, of course, you're gonna look at owner occupant. You wanna make sure that you select no for owner occupant. Then occupancy status, you're gonna select vacant, which is already a vacant list anyway. And you see right now you have 4,921 records. And as we filter more and more, you're gonna see that list continue to decrease. But you must filter out certain records, because if not, you're gonna be having a mixture of sellers that will not be motivated. So now what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna go to property characteristics, and you wanna change your property classification to residential. You wanna change your property type to single family, condos, and multifamily 2 to 4. Now that's completely up to you what type of properties you want to go after, but for this example, this is what I'm going to use. You don't have to do anything with the beds and baths or building size or lot size or anything like that. Now you don't have to do anything with the year built, but if you wanted to go after certain properties that's 30, 40 years old, of course you will change that filter to whatever year that you're looking to pull. It could be from 1900 to 1984, whatever you choose. But for this example, we're just gonna leave that blank, and that's pretty much it on the property characteristics. Now, when it comes down to on market, you may wanna go after on market properties. I don't as a wholesaler, I like going after properties that's off market. Then I'm gonna go down to MLS status, and you can see that you have different options inside of here, but you can just leave that blank because the only thing you focusing on is not on market. And then you're gonna go to pre-foreclosures. Unless you wanna stack your data, you can do that inside of here, but you don't have to if you just want a flat out vacant list. And then ownership info, you wanna go to years of ownership. I normally do 5 years minimum, but you can do whatever you want. I recommend 5 years minimum because then the person that owns the property has actually owned it for 5 years. Anything less than that can sometimes be someone that's just purchasing the property to fix it up and flip it and put it back on the market. So I just give it a little time in between. All right, so we have 5 years minimum, and the ownership type, we're gonna do individual. As you can see, that brought the list down to 634 records, and everything else that you see here, you can just leave blank. Now, the next thing I'm gonna go to is the estimated value. Depending on what market you in, that's gonna determine what your estimated value is gonna be. So let's say that properties that cash buyers are looking for in that particular area to actually go in and fix and flip is going to be 350,000 or less. So as you can see, it brought the list down to 484. If you're not familiar with seller financing or subject to, you will need equity in the deal in order for you to make your wholesale fee. So what I'm going to do, you want a minimum of 50% equity. So that brought your list down to 461. And so that's pretty much everything. So now you have a list of 461 vacant records, and it's a small list, but you can send text messages to it. You can send Wrangler's voicemails, and you can cold call it. You can also upload the addresses into a Facebook ads campaign. Whatever you want to do with it, you can. But this is just a small list that you can go after, and what you can do, you can just check every single one of them and then add them to a list. And then you have your list of vacant properties in that area. All right, so the next list that I'm going to pull whenever I'm going into a new market is a pre-foreclosure list. Now, you have an option. You can pull pre-foreclosures, you can pull tax delinquent, you can pull whatever type of list you want as a secondary option. Like I said, I always recommend pulling a vacant list first, but that's completely up to you. But the pre-foreclosure list is what I'm gonna choose. So basically what you can do, You already have Dallas, Texas up here. I'm gonna go in and pre-select pre-foreclosures. So now you see that it's only 92 pre-foreclosures in Dallas, Texas. So this may not be the best list for you, but you shouldn't expect a huge pre-foreclosure list, especially if you're looking at updated records. So what we're gonna do now, we're gonna go to property characteristics again, go to residential. We're gonna go in and change this to single family, condos, and townhomes, and multifamily 2 to 4. And as you can see, it brought it down to 68. So we're not gonna have a whole bunch of records. And on market, we wanna select no. Now we're gonna go to the pre-foreclosure information. And like I said, you want the most information possible. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna select everything, which is already pretty much pre-selected anyway. And then your recording date, if you want to, depending on what market you in, you maybe just go a month back. So as you can see, it's only one pre-foreclosure record here. Now, if you want to, it's completely up to you. You can actually leave the recording date blank and just call the 67 records, because there's not a lot of records anyway. If you leave it that way, you may be contacting people that were in pre-foreclosure a couple of years ago and they're not interested in selling, but it's just all part of the process. Now you can go to ownership information. You're not gonna do anything with ownership information because that doesn't matter, like how it does with vacant records. And then you're gonna click on individual. So that brought it down to 55. So you see that you may have someone that owns a trust or has an LLC that may be in foreclosure. So it's up to you if you want to go after the LLCs that's in foreclosure. And then we're going to go down to the equity info, and we're going to make sure that the properties are priced around $350,000, because you don't want to be going after properties that's $1 million or $2 million in the Dallas area. So we're gonna change that to 350. So now we brought it down to 40. And we're gonna go down to estimated equity and say that, hey, we want 50% equity. So now it's down to 25 records. So now you see you have a list of 25 pre-foreclosures. So just keep in mind, when you're dealing with distress lists such as pre-foreclosures, tax delinquent, and any type of distress list, you're not gonna get a whole bunch of records in the first place. So with 25 records, I'm gonna hit them with all forms of marketing that I possibly can, because it's gonna be cheap to do it anyway. I'm gonna cold call them, I'm gonna send them SMS, I'm gonna send them a direct mail piece, and I'm just gonna hit them with an omni-channel marketing presence. So now, we already know that with these two lists, that we still gonna have a lot of data left over, because I didn't mention that PropStream is $97 a month and it gives you 10,000 records a month. We're not gonna let that go to waste. What we're gonna do at this point, we're gonna start pulling absentee owner data to go after. So what we're gonna do now, we're gonna reset everything, and then we're gonna go in and create an absentee owner list. In order to pull an absentee owner list, these are the filters that you will need. So you will go down to owner occupied. Of course, that's gonna be no. And as you can see, it's 128,959 records right now. So you can see, you're definitely gonna get your money's worth. So occupancy status, we're gonna leave that at any. Property characteristics, we're looking at residential, and then we're gonna go single family, condos, and multifamily. That brought it down to 70,000. And then we're gonna close that out, go to MLS status, and go to on market. No. So that brought it down to 68,000. It's still a lot of records. So now what we're gonna do, we're gonna go down to ownership info. We definitely want the absentee owners to be the owner of the property at least 5 years, because you don't want a situation like I explained before, where you have an absentee owner that is just a cash buyer that's trying to sell a property. So we're gonna go here and we're gonna put 5 years minimum. That brought it down to 25,000 records. And then we're gonna go to owner type and click individual, and that brought it down to 17,400 records. And now we're gonna go into the equity info. But like I said before, if you don't know anything about subject to or seller financing, always select 50% so you can have some wiggle room when it comes down to the equity. So now we're down to 16,000 records. And the estimated value, we're gonna do 350. So now you're down to 12,000 records that are absentee owners that you can pull in any market of your choice. And guess what? You won't be able to pull all of them because you'll be over your 10,000 record limit. But these are the 3 main lists that you should pull that you can have in less than 5 minutes whenever you're going into a new market as a wholesaler. If you do want to use PropStream, like I said, it'll be linked below. And it's also $97 a month whenever you use my link. And you get a 7-day free trial. And you get 10,000 records every single month. So every month that you pay the $97, you get 10,000 more records. You can run comps inside of that software. You can skip trace inside of there. You can pull motivated sellers, of course. And it's just a lot that you can use PropStream for in your wholesale business. Now, there are pros and cons to this. The pros of using PropStream is you'll be able to pull records in a matter of minutes. Another pro is it's very, very cheap compared to going to a list broker. And you also have cons when it comes down to PropStream. Of course, if you're going into a new market, you're not the only one that's going into that market. So the cons that you're going to have with PropStream is you probably got hundreds of people or thousands of people that are pulling the same list that you pull. So that lets you know that your follow-up game and your rapport building with your seller is definitely going to have to be on point. Another way that you can find motivated sellers in your market is by driving for dollars. If you drive for dollars and you go after vacant properties when you're driving for dollars and properties that look like it's just in rough condition and nobody lives there, what you will notice, some of the properties that you drive around and find, it'll show up in PropStream as owner occupied. Even though you can physically look at the property and see that there's no way somebody lives there. Guess what? That type of property is not showing up on any list because it's showing up as owner occupied. So the only way that somebody will actually find that property is if they pull a regular high equity list. You may be able to build your own list and have a less saturated list, because if it's not showing up in PropStream as vacant, then nobody is pulling that data unless they're just pulling high equity data. Now, I hope you got value from this video, and please just hit the like button, subscribe, and click the notification bell, because I'll be giving out more valuable content for free, and you don't want to miss out on it. So please just do that for me. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.